Marc with the Fantasy Knockout Fantasy Football Show. Today is January 6th, Friday. I'm not too excited for today's show. It's the Week 18 must-start players. Who are we feeling confident about this week? Who are we worried about? You can follow the show on social media at Fantasy Knockout. Make sure to subscribe, whatever platform you're watching or listening on, and let's hit this goal of 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Let's talk some news.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the news.
News with views. So safety Damar Hamlin from Buffalo. We are all aware of what happened on Monday night. So prayers out to Hamlin and his family. News is that Hamlin has talked with teammates Friday morning, so that's fantastic news. His breathing tube has been removed. Doctors have been highly encouraged by his progress over the past 72 hours, so that is fantastic news. So again, prayers, thoughts, all that to the Hamlin family, the Buffalo Bills, going forward. Again, this is a fantasy show, so we're going to talk some implications on what happened that Monday night, and it's just, it is what it is, kind of a thing, you know. So the NFL has officially declared that the Bills-Bengals game, that Week 17 game, a no contest. Well, what does that mean? This means the game will no longer be made up, or it's no longer in a state of postponement. So it also means that the statistics that were accumulated up until that point of the postponement will be null and void. So it's like the game did not happen. So with that being said, what do you do with your champions and the game and how unfair and all that stuff goes forward? Well, hopefully your league or your commissioner in your league has reached out to you guys and you guys have come up with a reasonable solution. I understand there were many fantasy implications based on this game. My family one with my son was all the way down to this point. I was winning. He had Buffalo's defense that put him ahead by half a point. He thinks he should win. What do? I'm going to contest. I'm going to give him the victory since he probably was going to win if they had played. But in money leagues, such as maybe you guys, I've seen several leagues just chop the pot, or they do like a 60-40 split with if somebody was pretty far ahead with, their points and you don't know if it was going to catch up. I would, as a commissioner, I would leave it up to the two people in the finals. If the commissioner's in the finals, then maybe the league should step in and try to vote as a unanimous or a majority vote. But chop the pot, just split it up, and then call you guys co-champions and just put an asterisk next to that year. It's just, it is what it is. It sucks. There's not much we can really do. But, if your league had already kind of been decided, or one person's blowing somebody out and it didn't really matter, then, be nice to your commissioners. It's a hard decision. They don't want to hurt someone's feelings. They want to feel like they're picking one person over another. So please be responsible and respectful, and hopefully it all works out for you guys. Let's go on to some other news. So reports say that the New York Giants expect to rest, quote, several key players. So that means Saquon and Daniel Jones probably going to miss this week. Wide receiver Devontae Adams from the Raiders, he said he wants input on who the Raiders bring in at quarterback next year for 2023. Main event, my must-start players for Week 18. This is one of the worst weeks for fantasy, so please don't have your leagues play the last week of football, which is this week, which is Week 18. I'm not a fan of it. It makes it really hard because we just don't know who is going to be resting. Are the Chiefs going to rest some players? I know the Bucks are resting some players. The Giants, I just put out the news, they're going to be resting some of their starters. So it's not fair that you've played all this point up until this week, and then now you got to pivot and pick up some backup guys, and it makes it real hard to rank players because, someone on the Lions who is a starter on the Lions versus a backup on the Bucks. How do you adjust that with somebody going to play? It's very, very tough. So I'm going to do my best for this week to put out some quality rankings for you guys. I'm not that enthused about doing it, but I will do it because I know some of you guys have championships this week. Again, this is the time. Make note. Remove Week 18 championships. Find a way to do it in Week 17. All right, guys? So we're going to run through a list of players. I got the 3 different categories, and my confidence percentage in how they will finish at top that position, top 12 or top 24. Let's get into the quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks.
All right, my confidence level in becoming that top 12 quarterback for this week. To start with confidence tier, the 100 to 75%. We're going to go with Josh Allen from Buffalo, Patrick Mahomes from Kansas City, Jalen Hurts out of Philly, Joe Burrow from Cincinnati, Trevor Lawrence from Jacksonville, Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay, Justin Herbert from the Chargers. The next tier is going to be the consider if needed. This is the 75 to 50%. Kirk Cousins from Minnesota, Geno Smith out of Seattle, Dak Prescott from Dallas, Jared Goff from Detroit. Now still in the same tier, but just a little bit lower. Brock Purdy from San Francisco, Jarrett Stidham out of Las Vegas, Deshaun Watson from Cleveland, Russell Wilson out of Detroit, and Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh. Now the last tier is going to be the bench if possible. This is the 40 to 30%. Sam Darnold from Carolina, Tyler Huntley out of Baltimore, Andy Dalton from New Orleans, Mac Jones from New England, Sam Ehlinger from Indianapolis. Now the under 30% still in the same tier. Desmond Ridder out of Atlanta, Baker Mayfield from the Rams, Skylar Thompson from Miami, Davis Mills out of Houston, and Joe Flacco from the Jets.
Running backs.
All right, some running backs, confidence level not being that top 24 running back for this week. To start with confidence level, the 100 to 75%. Derrick Henry from Tennessee, Christian McCaffrey out of San Francisco, Ken Walker III out of Seattle, Travis Etienne from Jacksonville, Aaron Jones from Green Bay, Josh Jacobs from Las Vegas, Dalvin Cook out of Minnesota, Joe Mixon from Cincinnati, Austin Eckler from the LA Chargers. Now the next tier is to consider if needed. Alvin Kamara from New Orleans, Najee Harris from Pittsburgh, Cam Akers from the LA Rams, Tyler Algier out of Atlanta, Nick Chubb from Cleveland, Miles Sanders from Philly, Isaiah Pacheco from Kansas City, Jerick McKinnon out of Kansas City, Ramondre Stevenson out of New England. Now still in the same tier, we got the 50 to 40%. Ezekiel Elliott out of Dallas, DeAndre Swift from Detroit, David Montgomery from Chicago, Zach Moss out of Indianapolis, Jamal Williams out of Detroit, Brian Robinson from Washington, Cordero Patterson out of Atlanta, Tony Pollard from Dallas, Deontay Foreman from Carolina. Now the last tier is the bench if possible. Guys, I don't really want to see in lineups this week, but the 40 to 30% is going to be James Conner from Arizona, J.K. Dobbins out of Baltimore, A.J. Dillon from Green Bay, Devin Singletary from Buffalo, Latavius Murray out of Denver, Jeff Wilson from Miami, Raheem Mostert out of Miami, James Cook from Buffalo, Zonovan Knight from the New York Jets. Woo, I finally got it right. I always want to say McKnight. I don't know why. Now still in the same tier, the under 30%. Saquon Barkley from the Giants, Damian Harris out of New England, Chuba Hubbard from Carolina, Rashad White from Tampa Bay, Khalil Herbert out of Chicago, Gus Edwards from Baltimore, Ty Johnson from the Jets, Royce Freeman from Houston, and Joshua Kelly from the Chargers.
Wide receivers.
There are some wide receivers. The confidence level become that top 24 wide receiver for the week. We start with confidence tier. Justin Jefferson from Minnesota, Jamar Chase out of Cincinnati, Devontae Adams from Las Vegas, Stephon Diggs from Buffalo, CeeDee Lamb out of Dallas, Amon-Ra St. Brown from Detroit, A.J. Brown from Philly, Tyreek Hill out of Miami, T. Higgins from Cincinnati. Still in the same tier, but not as confident. Garrett Wilson from the Jets, Devontae Smith from Philly, DK Metcalf out of Seattle, Keenan Allen from the Chargers, Amari Cooper from Cleveland, Chris Olave from the, New Orleans, Christian Kirk out of Jacksonville, DJ Moore from Carolina, and Brandon Ayuk from San Francisco. Now the next tier we got is the consider if needed. That's the 75 to 50%. Jalen Waddle from Miami, Mike Williams from the Chargers, Juju Smith-Schuster from Kansas City, Tyler Lockett out of Seattle, Jerry Jeudy from Denver, Alan Lazard from Green Bay, Terry McLaurin from Washington, Christian Watson from Green Bay, Zay Jones from Jacksonville. Still in the same tier, the next group, Drake London out of Atlanta, Michael Pittman from Indy, Marquise Hollywood Brown out of Arizona, Gabe Davis from Buffalo, Deontay Johnson from Pittsburgh, Jacoby Myers from New England, Cortland Sutton out of Denver, Rashid Shaheed out of New Orleans, Chris Godwin from Tampa Bay. Now the last tier is the bench if possible. This is going to be that 40 to 30 and under 30%. DJ Chark out of Detroit, Brandon Cooks from Houston, Jahan Dotson from Washington, Mike Evans out of Tampa Bay, Donovan Peoples-Jones from Cleveland, Adam Thielen from Minnesota, George Pickens from Pittsburgh, Corey Davis from the Jets, Michael Gallup from Dallas. Now the next group, Curtis Samuel from Washington, Van Jefferson from the Rams, Traylon Burks from Tennessee, Romeo Doubs from Green Bay, Paris Campbell from Indy, Tyler Boyd from Cincinnati, Chris Moore out of Houston, Greg Dortch out of Arizona, and KJ Osborne from Minnesota.
Tight ends.
Now the tight end group, the confidence level becoming the top 12 tight end for the week. The start with confidence group, we're going to go with Travis Kelce out of Kansas City, Mark Andrews from Baltimore, TJ Hawkinson from Minnesota, George Kittle from San Francisco, Evan Ingram from Jacksonville. The next tier, consider if needed, Taysom Hill out of New Orleans, Dalton Schultz from Dallas, Dallas Goedert out of Philly, Pat Freiermuth, the Muth from Pittsburgh. I have Davis. It's David Njoku out of Cleveland, Tyler Higbee out of the Rams, and Darren Waller from Las Vegas. Now, the bench, if possible, these guys are going to be your streaming options this week. Dawson Knox from Buffalo, Cole Kmet out of Chicago, Juan Johnson from New Orleans, Tyler Conklin from the Jets, Gerald Everett from the Chargers, Hayden Hurst out of Cincinnati, and Noah Fant from Seattle. All right, some defenses. The confidence in becoming that top 10 defense forward of the week. Start with confidence group. We have San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, Jacksonville Jaguars, Dallas Cowboys, Seattle Seahawks, Indianapolis Colts, the New York Jets, and the Buffalo Bills. Hopefully you can pick up somebody there if you don't have them already. Now, the next group is the consider if needed. We're going to go with Kansas City Chiefs, the Atlanta Falcons, the LA Chargers, the Miami Dolphins, Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Cincinnati Bengals. And then the last group is going to be the bench if possible tier. These guys are more streamable, should be available for you. Minnesota Vikings, the Cleveland Browns, the Houston Texans, the New Orleans Saints, New England Patriots, and the Baltimore Ravens. So, guys, please give me that comment. If you have questions on who to start over who, hit me up in the comment section on the YouTube channel. Also, look at the website. I will update my rankings. I did it today, Friday. I'll do it again Saturday, and I'll do it again Sunday morning as news, when more news comes out of who's going to be sitting and resting and all that stuff. It will be changing a lot from now until game time. There are some Saturday games, so make sure you check your lineups and make sure you have everything set accordingly. That's going to wrap it up for today. The next show we have is the Week 18 injury report, who's in, who's out. I want to say thank you for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe, whatever platform you're on. Please leave that rating and review. It really helps me out. All right, till next time, I'll see ya.